I'm Farah DeJohnette, and this is my Farah DeJohnette Horsemanship signature bitless bridle. And this is Angus, and he's a project horse that I got, and I was taking him on because I felt like the plight of horses like him often is not very good, and horses like him find their way to the farm a lot of times. And I have a good track record of converting horses into bitless riding who most people wouldn't think could go bitless or didn't feel comfortable taking bitless. So what I wanted to talk about is bitless design and why I designed this one the way I did, and also the different cause and effects of other designs and what you might find when you're trying to do more correct and more biomechanical natural framing of the horse. And the other thing I like to look at is the way the conformation of the horse's face is. This horse is actually, he's an interesting fit because he's only about 15'2", very sturdy draft cross type horse, obviously, but you see that his face is actually not that long from here to here, but he's actually quite heavy in the jowl, and he's quite short in his distance from here and from here to here. So the bridle that I have on him is actually my pro model, which is the one that has full adjustability across the nose. There are 2 buckles on here. There are also 2 buckles on here, and there are 2 buckles on this side. So I also really find it important when I'm working, because I myself put this bridle on many, many horses, and it actually fits all the way from cob up to draft, as you can see, but even I've put this on very large draft types up to 17 hands, and horses that people swore to me that they couldn't find bridles to fit, but it actually fit, and this is the horse size one. It's available in cob and actually bigger, but I have never found a need to go with a larger size bridle or smaller, really. This one suits all my needs, and I ride all breeds and all sizes of horses and train with it. So the other feature that I have on here is there's a ring underneath here for groundwork, and there's also a ring here for also doing in-hand work and groundwork with your horse if you like to do the classical style of working there, which I do. So it depends on what I'm doing with the horses and where I want to attach those rings, and everybody's got preferences, but some horses it may be beneficial to have it here, but I find I often use it there the most because of the classical and handwork that I do. What I love about this design is there's padding on the brow, there's padding on the nose, there's padding on the crown, and a nice little accent there. I had to have a little bling because I wanted a bridle that actually was nice to show in classes where you were accepted to ride bitless. Currently, you can event in the jumpers, you can use these bridles, and in the jumpers here, show jumping, you can use them. Certain Western dressage classes, you can use them, and mostly any sports where they allow a hackamore or that type of bridle, you can use these. So there are some widespread classes that if you are competitive minded, you can use these, and hence I made this one very attractive, very high quality bridle. Well, it's harness leather, but it looks like a very high quality bridle, very soft and very easy to break in and durable, which is my big thing. I don't want my tack wearing out. I use it every day on multiple horses. I have yet to have one of these bridles break on me, and I'm going to be honest, I don't clean my tack every day. I don't have time, and I don't have anyone doing it for me, so this bridle withstands the abuse that I inflict on it, which is what good professional tack should be. It should be pretty and durable. So Buckaroo Leather makes these bridles for me, and I have always been happy with the quality and the workmanship always and their customer service. So some designs you'll see have crisscross designs on them, where they crisscross under the horse's chin or they crisscross under the jowl. One of the reasons I don't use those is if you start a lot of horses and you are interested in the natural frame and correct biomechanics, that crisscrossing action causes what I call a convoluted rein effect. So this rein actually attaches as closely to what I would call a feeling of having a bit without actually having one, because it's close to the horse's mouth and it's directly attached to this ring right here. I like also, as a preference, to the nosebands that people attach, where you might have your own bridle existing, if you know what I'm talking about, and then you buy just the noseband and it has rings stitched into it. You can attach them to a traditional bridle. I've used those also, and I've owned them, and again, all of these bridles can be used for what I call hacking purposes or pleasure. They're not going to cause a problem, you know, with pleasure riding, but when you start to wanting to do more precision riding, and like I ride dressage and jumpers with these bridles, you're going to want something that has a more precision communication, and that's what I look for. So I have no issue with people using the crisscross bridles if that's what they like, but I find that they do not give clear rein cues, and also they can be confusing because of the opposing pressure, and I find that they don't release very much. They're supposed to, but they don't. So this bridle does not put any pressure points on the horse. There's no tightening, there's no things that tighten when you pull the reins. It's just simply a bridle, a nicely fitted leather bridle. One of the features about these bridles, again, why I would not go for an attached noseband, this strap here, the gel strap, which some people may not be used to seeing, this gel strap stabilizes the bridle from rolling on the horse's face. This is a reason why I don't ride in just a plain leather halter, because this essentially could be a glorified halter. But it fits the horse's face in a way which is ergonomic, and I can have it sit there where it's not going to roll on the horse's face, maybe possibly go in the horse's eye when you're doing groundwork or any kind of circling work. So it's really important that you have this strap, I find, on most of the bitless bridles, and also that I prefer this. You'll notice this is a wide noseband with padding. I'm not fond of the side pulls that have lariat or any kind of rawhide up there. I think that puts a lot of pressure on the horse's nose. You can put pads over them. That's preferable to using just the rawhide itself. But I actually like this. I haven't had a lot of problems with horses, if I do my prep work very well, being pushy or leaning on this. The first thing I like to tell everyone, which I should have said at the beginning, is it's not about what's on your horse's head. It's about your training work. If your horse is light and responsive, and your horse is supple and is properly and correctly trained, you can ride them with nothing. And any of you have seen me ride my horse Mercury bridleless, you know that it can be done. So instead of looking at, I can't go bitless with my horse, we look at how can we train our horse so they can go that way. So it's my belief that all horses can go that way safely, and you have to just take the time to school the horse properly. I also tell people that if you think your horse is not riding well with a bit, they are going to ride just as the same way with the bitless bridle, because the bitless bridle, it does not fix anything unless your horse has a legitimate dental problem or has a facial pain problem, which there is a problem with that fitting the bit. What it does is it puts the emphasis on your seat and your communication and your leg, and not on having this magic bit. So you're forced to learn to ride your horse in lightness and to do correct base, better foundation exercises so your horse learns to be light. One of the reasons I picked this horse to convert, just again to show people, is that he was a horse that was known for being reactive and, you know, somewhat spooky to his surroundings, and it turns out that that's not how he is really, but you know, he is a horse that people would have been nervous generally to take bitless, and once I felt like he had calmed and settled in my program and we did acupuncture and we found out that he had ulcers and that was a big part of his problem, and when he got calmer he became ready to learn how to be reschooled in a correct, supple, self-caring way. So that was the most important thing, to get him prepared for working bitless. So that's how I approach bitless riding. And I'll just touch on a couple more bitless designs and what you might expect with them. There are some designs that have metal in this area and multiple contact points and attachment points. And again, those are okay. But again, they're going towards a leverage, trying to leverage the horse. And also, I find that bridles that have metal anywhere on this side, larger than these rings here, there tends to be a kind of stiffness in the bridle. There's no give in that area. And so that metal doesn't really move, and it kind of presses against the horse's face. And this has just been my experience. The feel is not pliable like this that just attaches straight to the leather. So there's a feeling of this piece of metal and then the cue. And so that's just something that I've experienced with the pieces, the ones that have big metal right there, attachments. So, you know, this is why I basically took an existing design, I call it a hybrid of a side pull and a classical dressage cavesson, which is the best of both worlds, and basically added better comfort zones on it, some training hardware, and made this very nice bridle that I use literally every day when I'm training horses here. Whether your horse goes bitted or bitless, some horses here are destined to go in a bit. It actually makes the horses lighter and more responsive to the bits, so a lot of them will school in the bitless bridle, and then when they go into the bit they're quite soft and light in them, and they never learn to lean on it. So there's a lot of reasons to school your horse in the bitless bridle, whether you choose to go no metal or not. It's an irreplaceable tool in my training toolbox, and I use it for virtually everything. So hope that helps you have a little more education about bitless bridle designs and what goes into the thought process in my particular bitless bridle. And I'm going to be posting about this horse's journey in the future, about his progress with going bitless. Alright, see you later.